And lastly, let's deal with the topic of 360-degree deals. 360-degree deals are sometimes referred to as all rights agreements. All rights agreements. What do I mean by a 360-degree deal? Well, we have to look back. In the last century, record companies signed artists to recording agreements and primarily earned income strictly from the sale or use of the artist's recordings. That's how a record company made its money, from selling or licensing out the use of those sound recordings. That was the only income they were concerned with. And as a result of CD sales and record and album sales increasing from the 70s all the way through the end of the 90s, that's all the money the record company wanted. They made a tidy profit off of just selling and using recordings. But then what happened? Napster, right? Peer-to-peer file sharing. An immediate decrease in CD album sales. And a lot of the profit that the record company was making started to evaporate. So the record companies had to look around for other sources of income to try to make up for that deficit. I remember maybe 2002, 2003 that I called a record company that had an agreement with my clients, and I was arguing for a percentage interest in the copyrights in the compositions. I felt that my clients had made a contribution to the songs that they recorded, and they were never given credit for it. Now, the company that I was dealing with was made up of creative people as well, producers who were also songwriters. And as I pressed this point that I want my clients to participate in the songwriting income, the attorney got a little perturbed and he said, "Wait a minute, John. You know, your clients have had a hit career for over 25 years. My clients wrote and produced most of the hit songs, and as a result of my clients contributing those great hit songs, your clients have been able to sell out concerts. They've been able to act in TV shows and in movies. They've been able to acquire sponsorships and endorsements. And you know something? We don't participate in that income. We never have." He said, John, you know something? Maybe my clients should ask your clients for a certain percentage of their live performance income, a certain percentage of their publishing, of their merchandising, of their acting fees, of their sponsorships. Maybe that's something that we should think about. And that was my first inclination that people at the major level were thinking about participating in income other than the sale and use of recordings. And shortly after that, EMI entered into what was considered the first major label 360-degree deal with Robbie Williams, who was a huge artist worldwide except for the United States, where Robbie entered into a deal where he gave up a certain interest in his publishing, he gave up a certain percentage interest in his merchandising, sponsorship, any activities within the entertainment area. EMI was going to participate in the earnings, and that's generally what these 360-degree deals are all about. In other words, the record company doesn't just participate in the income generated from the use and sale of those sound recordings, but they participate in the entire circle, 360 degrees of income that the artist generates. So now most deals that you will sign with major labels, at least the major label is going to try to get you to sign a 360-degree deal. If you have a lot of leverage, you might be able to negotiate out of a 360-degree deal, but in most instances, artists are going to sign 360-degree deals, which means that the record company is at least going to have options to pick up contracts for merchandising with the artist so that they'll participate in a certain amount of the merchandising income, sponsorship income, endorsement income, Live performance, maybe a certain percentage, 10 to 15% of the net revenue from live performances will be paid. Never before has that been done at the major label level, but it has been done at the independent label level, as well as small production companies. That's been done for years, for the past 20 or 30 years, under deals called the across-the-board deal. Across-the-board deal was a deal where the production company would sign an artist, unknown artist, to not only a recording agreement, but they would sign them to a co-publishing agreement to participate in their songwriters' royalties. They might even sign them to a management agreement where they would also participate in any of the other income that the artist generated. So this has been happening for years with smaller labels, independent labels and production companies. They have always done it themselves. We talk about do it yourself, and now I see it's more and more important for artists to do it ourselves, have a team surrounding them that's going to help them generate income from a number of different sources. Well, independent labels and production companies have been doing it themselves for a number of years. Even Motown, back in the 60s, they in effect had an across-the-board deal. Berry Gordy had a management company that managed all of the talent at Motown. The songwriters who happened to be artists also had to give up their publishing interests to Motown. And it sounds, and I even approach it as an artist attorney, it's like the labels are being greedy. They're taking money from every source possible. But in certain situations, it might be warranted. It was certainly warranted in the Motown years. Berry Gordy was in the position to drive over 100 singles to #1 on the charts. So as a result of that, artists were able to work more. They were able to get greater opportunities for TVs, for movies. Diana Ross went on to star in Lady Sings the Blues and Mahogany. All of these things where artists are morphing into other types of careers. The record label feels like they started that without that initial recording, and that's why the exclusive recording agreement is so important. It's the genesis of all of the other types of activities that artists can be involved in to generate income. So record companies want to be a part of that and feel that they have the right to participate. So the question always has been, even dealing with the across-the-board deals, as well as the 360-degree deals, are the companies capable to do it themselves? Do they have the people involved that understand live performance, that understand merchandising, that understand sponsorships and endorsements? Well, the fact of the matter is that over the past 10-year period since these deals have become popular at major labels are themselves starting to morph into general entertainment companies. They go way beyond just producing recordings. They're affiliating with management companies. They're affiliating with merchandising, sometimes partnering with those companies in order to create opportunities for their artists to generate the income. I just recently dealt with an A&R person at a major label, and his assistant got in touch with me, and the assistant's title was manager of A&R and artist development. Motown always had an artist development department. But over the past 30 years, record companies really kind of got out of that business. But they're back in that business right now. They're trying to develop their artists to be able to expand their careers beyond just recording and even performing live on stage. They want the artist to act. They want the artist to be a pitch person so that that can generate more and more income. Now, the percentages that they take on all of these various sources can vary. It can vary from 10% to even up to 25%, but all of those percentages have to be negotiated.